So we go into every, let's say, freshman in college who's studying political sciences. Favorite.
You have a warrant.
Do you have a warrant?
Yeah.
Which there's like 27. There's like a 26 or 27 exceptions to like needing a warrant. By the way, it's like you have to go to law school. Like law school is hard, and attorneys are paid well because it's a difficult thing to do. It's complicated. Right. Like I want to note. I do really want to note that to everybody listening, Cal and I are not weighing legal opinions on constitutional law. This is literally just historical research and trying to frame it. So we have the Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated.
Why would this be the one they reference when they're talking about the sanctity of your home or expectation of privacy?
I was literally about to say that clause. Look at you! I love it. The right of so the Fourth Amendment is the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable search and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized.
So they can only search for what they expect to find. If they go in there with something, if it's not on their list and they find it, too bad.
Too bad. And this, so it's funny. If you bring this up, people, the number one court case we bring up is Ohio versus Mapp. That was a very famous Supreme Court case in the 60s where basically this gentleman Mapp was, his house got searched and he asked to see the search warrant, and the officer, I think the officer wouldn't show it to him, or the officer like ripped it up or ate it or something like that, but just basically destroyed it. And that's the one that's referenced because it was like, well, you need to see the warrant. You don't have a right to, that is a constitution protected act as a warrant. So, but what it really comes down to is there's this case, Intick versus Carrington in 1765. So it's not 200 years before Ohio's first map, because the Brits decided to start issue general warrants.
Huh.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yep. They were just like,
pissed me off too.
Yep. They were just like, you can search whatever you want. But what's funny is that if you look at common law, and this is a lot of historians will point this out, that common law never allows for that. It hasn't allowed for that in hundreds of years before that. There's this idea as every man's house is his castle. That's like this concept was there. It's just not allowed. They were doing this specific to the colonies. So we talk about more broad picture of these general warrants. Kind of over time, how the Brits were treating the colonists, right, in the United States, is around in the 1760s, the British government started authorizing these called like writs of assistance, where like sometimes people refer to them as like blank check search warrants, where customs officers, or specifically the customs officers, could search a colonist's home, business, and any personal effects they had for evidence of smuggled goods, without specific cause or evidence. So just your existence and having goods could get you searched. In 1761, there was this very prominent attorney at the time named James Otis, who argued passionately against the writs, calling them instruments of slavery, and proclaiming that even tax collectors with a writ could enter all houses at will, and it really made every man's home insecure. And what I think is really funny is he goes on this passionate speech about English liberty, and that English liberty really begins at one's home. And he lost his argument. Really? But there was somebody sitting in the stands watching it, and like something out of a movie, it was John Adams. And John Adams referred to it as one of the most passionate defenses of liberties that he's ever seen. And he said that is the moment the revolution began, was in that courtroom.
Really?
Yeah. He said, once you start threatening the idea of home and self, he goes, that's when revolution starts. Not at Lexington and Concord, but in a courtroom.
Right.
John Adams?
John Adams
Love
again.
John Adams.
All right.